From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LA Late.
It's a big night here on Evenings LA with huge news about the economy, your money, your stimulus, and of course the confusion with everything else along the equation. Number of major breaking details tonight as company miss on those earnings front, but we're working on the major developing story this week, which of course is a CPI print for the month of July, released on August 10th. We'll look at whether that number signals inflation is going higher, and that means your benefits are going higher. How much? A lot of money across the board. We'll go over whether your benefits are going up about $10,000, $5,000. It depends on how much you get across the board. The latest details tonight stems from whether inflation has peaked or whether it has not peaked. And we'll go over everything you need to know across the board tonight. Plus, we'll be looking at the latest details of the president and his student loan debt forgiveness offer. Is it going to happen or whether it's not going to happen? Then we'll jump into the major developing story that we're watching tonight is whether a recession is upon us, whether the recession has not arrived. We're going to look at whether that CPI print coming in just days signals inflation has peaked, whether it's not peaked. The latest details you need to know because what happens with you? Your benefits go up an enormous amount. SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. But we're going to start with a major story that's changing everything tonight. And that major story, of course, is that shocker of a labor number released last Friday. It signals that unemployment is the lowest level since the 1960s. What a week it is. We're just getting started. Plus, we'll be looking at what to expect on not only the unemployment numbers on Thursday, but the latest numbers on what happens with the inflation thereafter. Earnings recession, yes, the latest details you need to know, plus the big question mark about your money. But ultimately, what you're going to do is you're not going to wait for any of these questions to be answered. You're going to get, when we say, hear the drum roll, a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. You're going to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state by going on this video, becoming a member. Stay the big second half as we go over these huge checks you deserve. About $100,000, you qualify. It's a big night with a lot of major developing details. I'm excited you're here. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, good evening. It's August 8th, 2022. Big stimulus checks are available for you. If there's a recession, you're going to want to get them. In tonight's recording, you'll meet Camp 1 and Camp 2, different camps that say whether we are in a recession or not. I'll have you decide which one you stand on. From the night that you wanted everything to be answered, it starts right now. From benefit raises to your housing market to also unemployment. And the latest details breaking left and right. It's all here tonight on a big major recording from the shores of Santa Monica, California. God bless. Let's get to it. The breaking news starts right here, right now, as Evenings LA gets underway for August 8th, 2022. And the major developing details start right now on a big night across the board with the latest details coming after the close. One major company missing on those corporate earnings. And that is a big question mark of what's going on with this economy. We'll go over everything you need to know tonight and everything you need to go going forward in this economy. What it means for you, what it means for your money, and what it means going forward. It's a big night from the shores of Santa Monica, California. God bless. I'm excited you're here. And the latest breaking details start right here, right now on Evenings LA. Breaking news tonight as we deal with the latest details on this economy and why the situation is getting so entangled, so confusing, so left and right. I'll analyze it for you tonight with everything you need to know over this big brawn test and get you big stimulus later in this recording. It's a big night, and welcome to LALATE this evening. You know, it's a night like any other, but then out of nowhere came that shocker on last Friday. As I go out of focus and come back in focus, we got to focus because, boy, a lot of major data and a lot of conflicting analysis. Let's go over the latest details starting right now. Last week, we knew what was coming on Thursday, and we knew what was coming on Friday. And we focused on Thursday because Thursday was an important number. We were not focusing on Friday. But let me tell you what happened. On Thursday, the jobless claims for the week before was released. We've been watching this since day one when this channel launched, and we thought that this was going to be a major news story. Why? because the number has been over the last few weeks tracking up higher. This is number of newly unemployed people that are claiming unemployment benefits for the first time. And it's been tracking up in a very quick, short period of time from 140,000 to nearly 260,000. Let's look at that number right now and let's see where it's gone in just a short period of time. It was here. It was down around 140 in the month of April. Then it tracked up to 200. I said it was going to go to 230. It did. Then I said it was going to go to 260. It did. And that was the major story we thought on Thursday. I mean, it's so obvious across the board. If the new jobless claims are going up, that means more people are seeking unemployment assistance. That means labor's not strong, right? Can it be that obvious? We thought it was until Friday. Now, let's understand what Friday was. Friday was the month-to-month data that was released, the non-farm payroll numbers, that shows how many private sector jobs are created the month before. It's a boring number. I was not previewing the number much. I was not teasing you, say, tune in for Friday because I'll have it live on air. I was not really even doing that because I thought it was going to be a boring number. Well, guess what happened? It was not a boring number. It was actually a shocker of a number. In fact, it's the most shocking number we've had on this channel this entire summer with the exception of the May CPI number. It's not the top line number, the headline number, the title of the number. It's one of the numbers in the subsection. What was it? On Friday, we had the number of jobs created in the U.S. economy for the month of July, non-farm payroll, and it came in higher than expected. Wall Street expect the number to dip in the month of July compared to the month of June to 258, a dip downward, less jobs. Private sector. Was it more than 250? Yes. Was it a rise? Yes. How much? 528,000. What are you talking about, LA? 528,000? Yes, it was a massive, massive beat. A lot of jobs created in the month of July, and this was a shocker. As two of the viewers, I think it was Lynn Glenn and I think it was Diane, the live chat 2 nights ago, said, LA, can you tell us which parts of the economy added the jobs? Because this doesn't make sense. The parts of this economy that added the jobs were exactly the parts you thought. Hospitality and leisure added nearly 100,000, 96,000. And then it's followed with business services at nearly 90,000. Retail had very few, 22,000. How could you have seen this coming yourself? You could have seen this coming if you were watching the earnings recession feature on this channel for the last 2 weeks. When corporations were reporting those earnings from the first quarter and second quarter this year, there were major misses, layoffs, hiring freezes in the tech sector, like Twitter, Alphabet, Microsoft, Netflix. It continued, also Tesla, major misses. But at the same time, those earnings numbers were coming in. They were major beats out of the ballpark for travel, leisure. If you're in the live chat right now, if you're in the live show right now, look at that ticker at the bottom. You'll see Royal Caribbean. It continues goes up every single day because it cannot hire enough people across the board. So ultimately, that may not have been the surprise. But let's understand, this was not the number that shocked the markets. No, it's not this number, even though this number is really a surprise. It's the other number that was in there. And what was that other number in there? It was the percentage of unemployed people in the U.S. economy. Okay. But wait a second. You're telling me that the Thursday number for labor was horrible. Worst number of 2022. In fact, one of the worst numbers of 2021. So many people claiming unemployment assistance, 260,000. That's a horrible number, up from 140,000. That's horrible. Why would the labor number for the percentage unemployed be a good number? It's a little bit complicated, and we don't all know the answers, but let me just tell you what the data is. The unemployed percentage, the percentage of unemployment rate, or the unemployment rate released for the month of July, released last Friday, was 3.5%. It's the lowest number since 1969. 1969? Yeah, this shocked everyone in the system, umbrella. No one saw this coming. The lowest unemployment number since 1969. Let me make something very clear. Whether it's the Federal Reserve, the White House, or generally me, this is the number that controls when you're looking at labor. You look at the unemployment rate before you look at the jobless claims. You look at the unemployment rate. This tells you whether labor is strong or weak more than the unemployment claims. And a lot of people have been asking me a question. It's a great question. This is the number you look for labor. And this number is the best since 1969. Then you know that labor is doing really well. Labor is really strong, which should cause you to immediately think about one person. Not me. I mean, you should always think about me. Mitch, no, you better not be thinking about Mitch. Who should you be thinking about if the labor number is that strong? You know who he is. His name is Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, because Jay Powell has a dual mandate, getting this number as low as he can get it, and he did it. He got it. He got it to the lowest percentage of his tenure at the Federal Reserve. He got the lowest level of a generation, and that is a major achievement. And it also tells you that he can come back with those interest rate spikes harder than ever before. If one of the things you've learned over the last few months is that the Federal Reserve has a dual mandate, maximum employment and reducing inflation, price stability is another way to call it. He does that by raising interest rates. But every question and every press briefings of the Federal Reserve after those FOMC meetings has been, but Mr. Powell, aren't you going to hurt the labor market by having all these interest rate spikes? I think it's more important to pursue the inflation, get it under control. And he always be sort of, not responsive to the question. But you know why? Because he knew he was not hurting the labor market. Now, this is a shocker. So here's the data tonight. The labor market has not been hurt by all those interest rate spikes of the Federal Reserve. Inflation has not peaked. The Federal Reserve is likely to have another interest rate spike. And now Jay Powell has a victory lap in store for himself because he's done everything correct for purposes of labor. He's not gotten the inflation down because inflation has still not come down at all since he started this process. So it seems so obvious right at the moment until you get to then the analysis. That's the data. The data is pretty simple across the board. The analysis is not. I'm not going to get to the analysis right yet. I'm going to go to Jay Powell. So Jay Powell is going to look at the situation, say inflation is not peaked. Let me tell you why this is important for you, because it's your benefits. Your benefits are dependent upon whether inflation has peaked or not. And at the time of this recording tonight, your benefits have not seen an peaking of inflation. How does this work? What's at issue? Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, and it's determined by something else. And if inflation is not peaked, then your benefits are going up a lot across the board. What are we looking at? We're looking at that print coming out this week, August 10th. The CPI print for the month of July. In the month of May, it was 8.6%. Then in the month of June, it surged on July 13th to 9.1%. Highest seen in nearly 20 years. Out of control. But great news for your benefits, because if inflation is not peaked, then your benefits are going up a lot. How much? We'll go over the equations in just a second. Let's show what happened for this inflationary peak to understand the raise of your benefits at issue, starting right now. It started with July 13th, when the CPI was released for the month of June. It beat. Then the PPI beat. Then the retail sales beat. We're going to repeat this process this week with the CPI for July coming out on August 10th this week, the PPI the day after, and the retail sales thereafter. But if inflation has not peaked, then guess what? Your benefits are going up an enormous amount across the board. I'm going to go into the benefits in just a second because I want to go back to Jay Powell and what his team is now going to do. So, it seems relatively obvious, doesn't it? If you're raising interest rates to battle inflation and you've not hurt labor because you've posted the lowest unemployment rate since the 1960s, obviously you're going to raise interest rates continual. Let me make this very easy for you. Yes. Why? Because we've had 3 governors in 1 week say that's what's going to happen. If the Fed governors tell you what they're going to do, it's called Fed speak, that's what they're going to do. I mean, how much obvious can this be? Well, apparently Wall Street doesn't like that. Apparently, you're going to see in this recording that when it comes to stock analysts, security analysts, they like to ignore what the Federal Reserve tells them and think that they're going to do something other than that. Can we just go with the obvious? The Federal Reserve says they're going to do something. They do it. Let's go over what the Fed governors have told us. Daly out of San Francisco says we're going to have interest rate spikes. We're not done because inflation's not peaked. Then Boulard out of St. Louis said we're going to have more interest rate spikes. Inflation's not peaked. Who told you inflation's peaked? He was a little bit blunt about it. I liked it. He's like, who are these people on Wall Street saying inflation's peaked? Who says it peaked and who said we're stopping with interest rate spikes? We never said that. In fact, let's go back to data. Inflation has not peaked at the time of tonight's recording for August 8th. Why? Because the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, released 2 Fridays ago, straight up, highest number since the 1920s. Of course, we need to see August 10th's number, the CPI. Is inflation peaked? Is it not? My prediction is that CPI is going to be about the same or a little bit higher. I don't think it's gone down at all. I don't think it's peaked. Now, this is big news for your benefits. Now that we understand that inflation is not peaked, now that we know that the Fed governors, and I'll have a preview of the second half of this recording, which is Bowman, she says, I got a lot of rate hikes to do, folks. Inflation is not peaked, and I'm going to keep on doing rate hikes until inflation comes down, and a lot down. Obviously, you know that inflation is not peaked. Oh my goodness. This is great news for your benefits. This is great news for your benefits because if inflation has not peaked, then you and I were watching and waiting to see those numbers for the month of July, August, and September to determine how much your benefits are going up. And maybe now we don't have to wait that long. Let me go over what's at issue. Now that you understand that inflation is not peaked, let's go over your benefits. Your benefits are going up about $5,000. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and Veterans benefits. Let's go over first why, and then we'll go over the calculation thereafter. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment. It's determined by another number, and that number is the CPI-W. Yes, it's a subsection of the CPI, released next on August 10th. You and I knew that if that CPI print for the month of June stays as high as it is in the month of July, then we're in a good circumstance. When do we see the July number? This week, August 10th. Pretty obvious. And then we wait to see the number in August and September in October. But as one of you asked, do we need to really wait the 3 months? Well, if that CPI print this week on August 10th is through the roof, you may not feel you have to really wait 3 months to see how much your benefits are going up. They're going up, but are they absolutely going through the roof? Now, let me go over everything you need to know across the board. The benefits will automatically go up. You don't have to do anything. Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. $5,000 depends on how much your benefits are. Some more than $5,000, some less. This is annualized. And then next, you're going to ask whose benefits? Yours. SSA, SSI, SSDI, VA. Same percentage, absolutely same percentage across the board. That's why you have to watch this channel because, folks, this is a very, very fluid situation. If that CPI continues to surge and we see its number going through the roof this week, then you're looking very pretty across the board. I'll go over more about the percentage at issue, but this, my friends, is why you have to get a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Why do you specifically have to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state? Because the issue at hand is that if inflation is still here to stay, well, then, obviously, things are going to cost a lot of money to buy, and you need to have that money to buy those items. And the way you get those monies is to get those forced stimulus checks done by executive action of Joseph Biden in the month of March. We're going to go over those incredible checks starting right now. First, where are these checks? How do they become law? What are at issue? Let's go over everything you need to know starting right now. You deserve the financial freedom because if there is a recession or you believe there's a recession coming, you're in camp 2, you need to get these checks in your bank account and beef up your savings before that recession gets worse and longer. Let's go over these incredible checks broadly first, and then we'll go over them in detail in the big second half. These incredible checks are huge, approximately $100,000, done by executive action of Joseph Biden in the month of March, and you qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, married couple, $150,000 less. Go get them. They're done by executive action, about $100,000 across the board, just huge, huge sums of money. And you want to get them. Rent, own, children or not with children. On benefits, SSI, SSDI, go get them. They're executive action. That's why they're everywhere across the board. You need to become a member, go down on the membership newsletter, go through that newsletter, click the links, and go get them. Get these incredible checks. We'll go over all these incredible checks after the commercial break. One of the benefits of being a member is, of course, that worksheet and also the newsletter. The newsletter delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, has this in it, the worksheet. And the worksheet is an incredible PDF. It's all you need to just LALATE. You're not going to see this anywhere else. For you to keep track of your money and also your stimulus. Let's go over what's happening in that worksheet tonight. First, on the first page, we have inflation. What do we learn tonight? That at the time of tonight's recording for August 8th, inflation has not peaked. There's no indication it has. That personal consumption expenditure index was released 2 weeks ago. It was straight up. Worst number since in 20 years. And then we have the number for the CPI print for the month of July coming on August 10th, the PPI the day after. That is what we're watching. Recession. The second half of this recording, we're going to go over recession, why Camp 1 versus Camp 2 disagree whether there is recession or not? Let me tell you the two camps. Camp 1 says there's no recession. It was never going to happen, never even started. Camp 2 says it started, and it's going to be actually worse than we originally thought. Which camp am I in? Camp 2. Camp 1 is the stock traders. Camp 2 is the bond traders and the oil traders. Labor. Wow, this is a confusing subject. So we went from 260,000 jobless claims on Thursday, thinking it's a really bad labor market, to the Friday print of that lowest unemployment rate since 1969. And that's the number that controls the Federal Reserve, the White House, and generally me. So it shows you a very confusing economy. The Federal Reserve, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because those people laugh at me. And guess who has the laugh last? Last laugh. You do. Maybe the way we'll check when he doesn't wave back. Let me tell you what's going on. I had told you the Federal Reserve was going to have a 75 basis point increase for interest rates in September. And I told you that was going to happen because why? Inflation's not peaked, and they've not said that it's peaked. No one said it's peaked based upon data. And the Federal Reserve needed to get inflation down. And Bowman, Boulard, and Daly all said they're going to have an interest rate spike. Well, guess what happened? On Thursday, I was in the minority. 30% of analysts and myself and the Federal Reserve governor said 75 basis point increase in September and a lot of interest rate spikes thereafter. And 70% of Wall Street analysts, basically in the stocks section of the markets, said no, LALATE is wrong. It's going to be a 50 basis point, a smaller basis point increase for interest rates in September, and that is it. Why would you bet against me? Why would you bet against the Federal Reserve? I mean, you have three governors coming out and telling you what they're going to do. You're going to bet against the people who are making the decision? I mean, does that make sense? Some of these things make me laugh because I can't believe I'm reporting that people who are paid big money on Wall Street are analyzing things based upon guessing against the Federal Reserve when they tell you what they're going to do. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Let's go to the next page where there's big success stories tonight. First, one viewer on Tuesday last week got 12 months of utilities. Congratulations to that viewer. That should be you. Do it right tonight. Become a member and get those big checks. The other viewer, the day after, got 14 months of rent checks. Wow. If the average rent of the viewership of this channel is $1,000, that's $14,000. That's a lot of money. The success stories continues thereafter. It's all because of this table. This table, again, is part of this PDF. It's the worksheets in the newsletter down around the third line, printed out from your phone or yourself or your computer, or download and take notes, is a place for you to keep track of all your checks you applied for, when and where and how much they pay. Well, let's go over the details of what this table helped for two viewers. Spelly applied for check A. He got approved. He got applied for check C. He got approved for a lot of them. And for check A, he says, stay with it. Stay with it, because he applied and they said, you didn't dot your T or cross your I. Oh, yeah. I inverted that. And so he said, let me go back and fix it. And he did, and he got approved. He said, stay with it. Please do. And then that other viewer out of Florida, she's a godsend because she really took big notes. She just forgot to look at her notes. And what happened? She got that email from the state of Florida 2 Thursdays ago. Said, ma'am, you've been approved. For what? Check B. Wow, congratulations. For what? Mortgage assistance. Whoa, congratulations. 1 month? No. 18 months. Oh my goodness. 18 months of mortgage? That's not $1,000. That's $10,000. Oh, the story gets better than that. She also applied for all her utilities. All her utilities, that's 4 months. That's 4 checks for utilities, and the mortgage, 5 checks per month. That is 20. Wait a second. 18 times 4 checks a month? 18 times 5. 4 utilities plus her mortgage, 18 times 5 checks. That's 80 to 20 checks. Are you serious, Elliot? I'm serious. She got 80 to 100 checks, 4 stimulus checks, by becoming a member. That's what you do. That's why people are becoming a member of this channel. This is why this channel is number 3 in America, expanding to number 2. This is why this channel's on fire. You're not going to see this anywhere else. I've been doing this for a very long time. I didn't just start getting 4 stimulus checks yesterday. We've been getting these checks for a very long time. We've been getting checks before there was ever a second stimulus even in the works. We got checks in December 2020 when Americans were in big trouble because of the pandemic, and I found checks. They were hidden like a needle in a haystack. Then, when third stimulus became law, most non-viewers got about $500 or $1,000 checks. I got viewers on average $45,000. This time around, You know the landscape of what's happening outside. I'm not going to cover it here. These are the checks that viewers are getting. They're getting them every day. It's your success story today as well. Become a member. If you're in the live chat, post your success story, whether it's $100 or $100,000. If you applied for a check, post it as well, because you help the narrative keep on going. You want people to keep on applying it for these incredible checks. Let's go over the remainder of that worksheet right now. When you turn to fifth stimulus, what do we know about this stimulus tonight? Well, we know that your benefit rise lift will be dependent upon that CPI print dramatically on August 10th. So that CPI print shows it was about the same as the month of June. It's a July number released on August 10th. Or higher, you're really good. If it's slightly down, you're still sort of good. Because remember what I'm previewing late in this recording. Bauman says inflation has to come down and stay down a lot for a long time. And I don't think that's coming anytime soon, and she doesn't think so either. Then gasoline and student loan debt forgiveness. Gasoline, what's the latest details on gasoline? If you remember this channel, you see it in the membership newsletter over the last few days. Gasoline was $110 last week, folks. International price of Brent crude. What has happened to that price of gasoline in just a short period of time? The price of gasoline was $98 on last night's newsletter, delivered specially on a Sunday because I was out because I was hospitalized. I want to make sure that you saw that newsletter. But what happened to gasoline after it dropped to 98 on last night's newsletter? Throughout much of today, it's been dropping to about 94, 95. I have never had a 94, 95 for gasoline on this channel, ever. I mean, this eclipses any from Putin, which is about 104, 105. This is a shocker across the board. And finally, student loan debt forgiveness. The present insiders say we'll forgive $10,000 of student loan debt for individuals who make $150,000 or less. I've been saying that for a while. I just don't know when. If you qualify for the other types of student loan debt forgiveness that the president can do, please go get them. How do you get them? Go to the Department of Education's website, look under the press releases, look for what Miguel Cardona is describing, and take notes on the following right now. The president has forgiven student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, completely. Your debts have been forgiven completely. For individuals who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, and for individuals who are defrauded by the university in procurement of that student loan. Go get those big sums of money across the board. And with that, the big second half is just coming up. In this big second half, we are going to go over everything you need to know about this confusing situation. It's hideously important with Camp 2 versus Camp 1. Camp 1 says there is no recession, it never happened, and it's not going to exist. Camp 2 says there is a recession, and the recession as of Friday's data is now going to be far worse, much longer, and much more pronounced. Which camp are you in? Camp 1 or Camp 2? Jump in the live channel right, Camp 1 or Camp 2. And ultimately, I think you need to make this promise to yourself right now. That even if you're not in Camp 2 and you really believe there is no recession, you need to get the stimulus. You need to err on caution. Raise your savings, remove your adjustable rate debt, like credit card debt, because we already know that Federal Reserve chairs are going to raise those interest rates through the roof. Go on in this video and become a member. And the big second half, we're going to go over all these incredible checks one at a time that you qualify for. And then we'll go over the big equation and the big analysis debate about recession versus not recession. And then we have a big major surprise for you that you've been waiting for. I've been waiting for as well. It's very, very exciting news. It's coming up in the big second half. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as America's most watched show in prime time continues its evenings. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m.
home, LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons, LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now for August 8th, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you're being good. In tonight's recording, the excitement continues as we go over whether that earnings recession is far from over or whether the proliferation will continue. We'll look forward to this week and why the recession is misguided with some analysts, but right on the point for others. And we'll go over the raise of your benefits and across the issue and what you need to know left and right. It's a big night with exciting details continue. The housing market, your unemployment, your forced stimulus, and more. It's the breaking news, and it all starts right here as we go into the big second half of Evenings LALATE starting tonight. How are you? You know, it's great news that in the month of March, the viewership of this channel said, find me stimulus checks, because that's what I've been doing. I've been finding people stimulus checks when they are in time of need for a very long time. I found checks when second stimulus didn't exist, when Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin had not gotten it done. Found them in the thick of that time. Found them in the thick of 2020, December, when people were in need and heating oils were through the roof, those bills. And when third stimulus became law, most people got a few $100s. I got viewers a lot of money, average $45,000. These checks I got for viewers in the month of March after they asked me, find me some checks. And they're still law, and you're going to get them as well. You're going to see the incredible success stories, more of them. You already saw some before the commercial break. And let's start first with my dual mandate. First, I want to make sure the checks were big sums of money. None of these ridiculous $600 checks. No one's going to survive 2 years on a $600 check. You're not going to survive a week on a $600 check. We have a 2-year recession, in my opinion, coming. I was the first to say a recession's a land in this economy. I said in February of this year, people thought I was crazy. More about that second. Second, broad eligibility. I want to make sure you qualify because I care about you. Big checks, broad eligibility. Let's go over that eligibility starting right now. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. Rent, own, with children, without children, on benefits, not on benefits, retired, work, don't work. Ahead on bills, behind on bills, you qualify. And with that, let's go over all these incredible checks starting right now. I've given a lettering system, starting with the letter check A. We go over each of those incredible checks starting right now. Hopefully you became a member during the commercial break. If you haven't, go into this video and join right now. And let's go over those incredible 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state, starting with the first check. I give it a lettering system, and the first check is check A. It's a $6,500 to $12,000  4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. And what's at issue? Let's look at it starting right now. $6,500 to $12,000. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, go get it as well. How do you get it? Step 1, go under this video, subscribe. Then go under this video, join the channel, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Get the membership newsletter delivered to members Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube Members Alert. And then go down to that membership alert, you find check A. There it is. Click the link in the newsletter. And it sends you into the application. Choose your state, actually, first. Then choose Weatherizer Grant, and then go get it. This is the check that Spelly got. As he said, stay with it. You'll get approved. Great motivation. Thank you, Spelly. And then we turn to check B. Check B is incredible. $15,000 to $80,000, a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less. Go get it. Married couple, go get it as well. And if you're on benefits, go get it as well. This is the check that the viewer from Florida got her. 80 to 100 checks. 18 months of 4 checks. Go get this. Check B. How do you get it? Go under this video, subscribe. You're watching LALATE 3. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, with incredible expanding programming, shows, and more coming to this family. You can see the teaser of that later in this video. Plus, I want to welcome all the new members that became members in the recent days when I was out for hospitalization. The live feed that ran delivered over 100 plus new members. And then I want to welcome all the existing members. You remember, you stay a member. You do not go anywhere else because there are going to be more checks. There's going to be more news. You can't miss anything across the board. And number 3, I want to welcome all the upgraded members as well who chose to go from Purple Hawk to Purple Power, from Purple Power to Calcino VIP. Go down the membership newsletter. You find check B. There it is. You click the link, and then you go right into that membership newsletter. Check B sends you into the nationwide website, and then go get it. Incredible. $15,000 to $80,000 for check B, $12,000 for check A. That's $100,000 right there. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get check C. Check C has been a big success story for this channel. Viewers are going to be getting check C for a very long time. A lot of viewers over 150,000, a lot averaging 45,000, even MSCs, $2,000 over a month for 12 months. Incredible. It's for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. How do you get this incredible check? C, become a member. Go down the membership newsletter where you see check C. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Check C predates even third stimulus, but it got a big payout in third stimulus, and let's see what's at issue tonight. Here are just some of the success stories. Do you want $20,000 to $30,000 for check C? Then go get some check C. Go get it right now. And do you want these types of monies for utilities? And Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. Go get check C. And then here's Snap. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $250,000 over 10 years. What about combinations of checks, like rent and utilities, or like mortgage and utilities, or multiple utilities? Go get check C. Nisi went from $23,000 to $50,000. Mark went from $32,000 to $166,000. He went from this graphic at 32 to then 50, then 100. Then he got check B for $66,000. Incredible. Lorraine went from 105 to 155. And yet there's a common equation among Lorraine and Johnny and Mark and Nisi. They are in all the live chats. They continue to watch this economy to know what's going on. Folks, this is a confusing economy. This is a confusing economy where Wall Street analysts are paid big bucks for getting things wrong, where we have to go back to historical data to get on site as to why labor's strong and yet there's a recession. I'll go over that in a second. It's a very confusing economy, and there's so much data being released daily that the data is completely contradictory to the data the day before. Even we're just looking at the data. Look what happened here. Thursday, bad labor market. Friday, best labor market is 969. And that is why you can't miss a recording, because you'll be shocked and it'll be too hard to catch up. You got to be in all the recordings. Number two, they keep on getting checks. They keep on getting checks. Why? It's August. You know what's around the corner. September, October, those cold months. Everyone's going to be saying the heating oil bill's $3,000, the water, the gas bill's $2,000. I can't afford this. I need help. You get these bills right now. One of the things I haven't said on this channel for a while is that one of the benefits of getting checks now is establishing the relationship with the payor. Let's say it's a nonprofit, number A, and establishing that relationship, because you'll be going back and asking more money later on. And when they pay you, let's say it's $200 for the heating oil in the middle of summer because it's 900 degrees outside. Then when you come back and say, hey, I got a $900 bill, it's October. Then they'll say, oh, I remember, you're the nice person. Keep it pleasant. Keep a very cordial interaction on the phone, because you'll be asking for more money later on. That's how we do it. That's how it works. What do you need to do? First, go into this video, subscribe. You're watching LA Late, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, expanding dramatically. I have the big news for you on that in just a second. Number 2, go into this video and hit that join the button. Join this channel, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Then hit that little bell at the front of this channel to make sure notifications are set to all on. You want to make sure your notifications set to all on so you get that newsletter that's sent via the YouTube alert system. You want to look at the newsletter? Let's look at that newsletter starting right now. When that newsletter is delivered, what does it look like? What's at issue? Let's look at it. The LA newsletter is delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. Pause the graphic, 7 p.m. Oh, I missed it. Is that hysterical? Pause the graphic after the number disappears. Well, it said 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So know your time zone. If you're not 7 o'clock, then if you're Central Standard Time, it's 9, for example. And it's delivered via the YouTube alerts. What is a YouTube alert? Let's look at it right now. Here's a YouTube alert that's sent by email. Look at the title, for members only, new LA post. Look at the time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Look at the title. It says YouTube. Look at the first line of the alert, written by me. It says LA newsletter today. See the 4 emojis of mailboxes, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. It's sent via YouTube. That is what a YouTube alert looks like. This is the alert that sends you the link into the newsletter. Let's go down in the alert. Go down in the alert till you see the man with the surfboard. Lower, lower, lower. There he is. Go beyond him. After him, you can see a button that says View Post. You click that and you go right in the newsletter. and you're ready to rock and roll, you're going to go get some check A's tonight. You're going to go apply for some check B's tonight. If you're in the live chat, post what checks you applied for this week because you want to inspire other people across the board. I had a wonderful message that came in from Barbara minutes ago on Facebook, private messaging, LALATE News. Always send me a message if you have to send me something important there. And she said, this iPhone's driving me crazy. Apple, do not send me a message. Her phone, I won't say the name of the brand, her phone's driving her crazy. And she said, I need to make sure I get this going because I need to apply for those checks. I love that motivation. I love that motivation. Don't let a phone, don't let a printer, don't let lobster shorts get in the way of you applying for checks. You could figure this out. You could figure this out. Maybe you have your friend or neighbor print it out for you. Maybe you borrow their computer for a day. You understand where you're going. That's the easy part of the equation. You have the link to go right in and apply. You know where you're going. Don't let your phone be the reason why you don't get 80 checks like that Viewer got out of Florida. Don't make something so simple that you can eliminate as part of the equation for you to get the big money. You deserve it across the board. Thank you for all your incredible, kind messages during my absence for hospitalization. I feel much better. I really appreciate it across the board. And with that, when I came out of the hospitalization, I actually told them the very first thing I read was whether LA2 and LA3 are ready to go. And they're ready to go. Isn't it exciting? This family is now expanding to 2 more channels. You're watching LALATE, which I guess you could also call LALATE1, the original channel, but it's going to be expanding to 2 new channels on top of that. You go into this video, subscribe to those 2 new channels. They're in the description of this video. LALATE2 will have a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week live feed about stimulus, about check A, B, and C, and everything you need to know, because this is where the stimulus is. It started. It always will be here. I just want to say something. I just want to say something because it really belongs here. When second stimulus with Nancy and Steve Mnuchin was not getting done, who helped find you money in the thick of the woods? I found it. When first stimulus had ran out of money, who found you money in the thick of the woods? I found it. And when all the events that are happening out externally off this channel happened this week, who has found you money all this year? I found it. Elsewhere, people want to get off subject and go to another subject. You know, I talk about talking cows. I talk about ribs and sugar-free chocolate cake and sugar-free Brussels sprouts, but otherwise, I stay on message. And on LA2, you're going to have a 24-hour show live about your stimulus. Then, your favorite cast of characters are coming back. Sir Lloyd, Javita Late, Blaine66, in their new humor shows and the returning shows in new seasons. Isn't that exciting? It's very exciting. Then over on LA3, you're going to have a 24-hour live show about your economy. So you want to know about inflation, recession, stocks, crypto, bonds, everything you need to know, it's on that live show 24/7. And then, yes, you've been asking for deliciousness. It's coming. The cooking shows you've demanded and asked for, it's pure cooking. It's only cooking. They're filmed over the summer before the heat kicked in, and they're even on location. So lots of cooking shows. Bring your appetite because you're going to be starving until Mitch shows up with lobster shorts. Then you'll lose your appetite. Let's go to the major other story we're working on tonight. Recession versus not recession. This is a major story, and you need to know why this is happening. And I need to give you the data, and then I want you to choose your analysis. You can disagree on analysis. That's perfectly fine with me. You can be camp 1, you can be camp 2. Jump in the live chat when you figure out which one you want. I don't care which one you want, but I want you to know what's going on because this is very serious, folks. This is very serious. Let's take it back a step. In spring of 2021, I was the first to say inflation was going to come in really high in December of 2021, last December, 8%, and be here for a while. Why did I know that? Why did I get that right? Because it's being caused by a series of factors that Jay Powell does not have to get inflation down. Supply chain disruption, gasoline prices through the roof. And Jay Powell kept on saying, I'm going to get down. I said, you don't have the tools. Raising interest rates doesn't work. So that happened. Obviously, inflation came in at 8%. It's still 8%. You know, it's August. We've been dealing with the subject matter for a long time. In February this year, I said that a recession is going to be arriving this year. And people literally thought I was crazy. They literally thought I was crazy. How dare him use that R word? Hasn't he gotten the memo? You never use that R word, ever. Reagan, no, recession. You never use the R word. Robots? No, just you never. Rachel? No. Rachel and Ross? No, not that. Those two either. The R word recession. You never use the R word ever. Well, I did use the R word, and everyone thought I was crazy. And now here's the recession. So let me tell you what's going on. There are two camps that disagree dramatically, and their pronounced disagreement manifests itself starting last Friday. In camp number one, it feels like it's a boxing match. In camp number one is the equity traders. Camp number one has the equity traders, and they say that based upon those strong labor numbers of last Friday, there never was a recession, there never will be a recession, and you can't keep on saying this economy is weak because the economy is great. Here's an example of an equity trader that says that. Liz Ann Saunders, or from a firm that does equity trading or equity investment, chief investment strategist at Charles Schwab. There's no other way to take the side of this data. There's not a lot of but other than it's not positive for the market from a federal perspective. For the economy, this is good news. Okay, that is on one side. That is camp one. She basically says that there is no recession and never would be a recession. Another analyst that says the same thing, Michael Gapin. The report, the labor report, throws cold water on a significant cooling in labor demand, but it's a good sign for the broader U.S. economy and the worker. All right, the other camp is the bond traders, the oil traders, and myself. And what do they say? Here we go. Ian Legan, head of U.S. strategy at BMO, says, the last time we had this inverted curve at 2s and 10s, you have to go back to 2000, and it was a much different overall rate environment. We just got as inverted as negative 56 during that episode. What is he referring to? There's a thing called the yield curve inversion. I don't need you to know what it is. I just need you to know it exists. Is it worse today than it was before Friday's data? It's insanely worse. The yield curve inversion has been featured on this channel for several months because we've been in recession for several months. But the curve became worse by the bond traders after the Friday data came in. If you want to know what the inversion is, it's the inversion of the 2-year Treasury note and the 10-year Treasury note. Basically, the 2-year Treasury note has a higher percentage, which doesn't make sense. Obviously, a longer Treasury note should pay you more money. If you put your money in the bank for 10 years, you should get a higher percentage rate than in 2 years in the bank. Nope, that's what yield curve inversion means. That's what happens in a recession. Now, he's not done with his quote. Here's the part of the quote you want to listen to. My biggest takeaway from the inversion of the curve is that the market is confident the Fed credibility is high. Yeah, Fed did not hurt inflation, unemployment. And they will continue to hike rates. Told you so. That the risk that it creates is a bigger economic headwind than the economy can handle and end up tipping into a more significant recession. Wow. Let me explain to you what he's basically saying. It seems very data specific. It seems like it's almost indisputable, but yet equity traders don't agree. He is basically saying that the Federal Reserve raised these interest rates over the last few months and never once hurt the labor market because now the unemployment number is the best number since 1969. That means that the Federal Reserve can continue to raise interest rates because they don't believe they're hurting the labor market. It seems almost indisputable. Why would someone say the opposite? I really don't know why. I've been telling you for a long time the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates and continue to raise rates until inflation goes down. You don't believe me? Then here comes Bowman. I got to tell you, it's all lining up, and I don't know why the equity traders are in camp one. Federal Reserve Governor Bowman said on Saturday the following the situation. She said, my view is that similarly sized interest rate spikes, like the 75 from July, must be on the table until we see inflation declining. Watch these adverbs. In a consistent, meaningful, and lasting way. So she says inflation has to come down a lot, and stay down for a long time. So how in the world are those equity traders saying we're done with interest rate spikes in August? It hasn't even come down. We haven't even had the CPI print for August 10th. It makes no sense what they're saying. Bowman goes on to say more. The larger threat to the stronger labor economy is that excessive inflation, which allowed to continue, could lead to further economic softening. It means the economy falling apart, risking a prolonged period of economic weakness with higher inflation. That's stagflation. That is years of weakness, and something like we experienced in the 1970s. There you go. In any case, we must fulfill a commitment to lower inflation, and we remain steadily focused on this task. She basically says, you don't get inflation down for a long period of time, we are going to a major problem that will continue for many years, and it'll be stagflation, which is recession plus inflation. I think it's pretty obvious. Jump on the live chat and vote camp 1 or camp 2. I don't. I will fully support anyone that votes for Camp One. I just won't invite you to Lobster Fest 2020. Not that I was going anyway. The news continues throughout the night. If you're watching the show in live, then stay with me because more shows throughout the night. Evenings LA every night at 5 o'clock, then followed by the wonderful countdown at 6 o'clock. Streams almost at 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock is extra. 9 o'clock is sunset. And then the shows continue in the morning with early mornings LA at 4 a.m., mornings countdown at 7 a.m., and mornings LA live on air at 9 a.m. Get those stimulus checks. You really deserve that financial independence. Get those big sums of money across the board. For stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Become a member. Go on this video, become a member. Welcome to all the members that joined today. Congratulations to all the returning members. And thank you to all the upgrading members who upgraded from Purple Hawk to Purple Power. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful night, and stay with LA for more.